here we go. Okay, so 13.6 periodic data. We are going to learn how to graph sine, cosine, and tangent. We're not going to learn how to graph those other three. We're only going to learn how to graph sine, cosine, and tangent. And you're going to find out that they're periodic. You're going to hear me say a lot, what's the period? What's the cycle? You're going to hear me say that constantly throughout the rest of this chapter. Because sine and cosine graphs look like this. They're very wavy like this. And people that are in oceanography have to figure out the tide. Tide coming in, tide going out. They look like waves. Sine and cosine graphs look like waves. And they have to study this for a living. Today we're not going to study sine and cosine graphs. We're just going to learn what periodic functions look like. So what is a periodic function? Which is going to be sine, cosine, and tangents. They repeat. They're going to have a pattern for the rest of this chapter. All the graphs will have a what? They'll have a pattern. As you can see, there's a pattern on this graph. This is not a sine or cosine graph, though. How do you find the amplitude? The amplitude is the height of your graph. How do you figure out the height of a graph? It's the absolute value. It's the absolute value of the maximum height minus the minimum height divided by 2. That's how you find the height of any graph. And how do you find the period? How long it takes to repeat. So, here we go. All we're going to do today is we're going to find the amplitude today, and we're going to find the period. And that's all we're learning today. Again, these are not sine and cosine graphs. These are just graphs. Just getting used to knowing how to find these two things. And it should only take a few minutes to do each problem. So, in this problem, you can see that the maximum height is 4. Everybody see that the maximum height is 4. Minus the minimum. What's the minimum? 0. Isn't it 0? So it's 4, take away 0. And you're going to divide this number by 2. And it's supposed to be absolute, which means the answer should always be positive. I don't need a calculator. 4 take away 0 is 4, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So what's the height? The height of this graph is 2. Good to go? Okay, the next one. What's the period of this problem? When does it start repeating? This is what I want you to do, and this is what I want you to get used to doing. Look to see if there's a pattern. It goes one big triangle, then a little triangle, then another big one. You should put a slash where it starts all over again. Put a slash where it starts all over again, and then you'll know what the length of your graph is. The length of your graph is 2, 3, 4. I counted 4 over. Final answers. The height of your graph is 2. The length of this graph is 4. It's a periodic graph. Good to go? Next part. I think it's still on the same page, right? Yeah. One more, and I think we're done. I thought this was perfect for people being gone. So, amplitude, period. Amplitude, remember it's the height. It's max minus min divided by 2 absolute value. So, what's the maximum height of this graph? 1. Minus, what's the minimum level do you go? Negative 2. 1 minus a negative 2. 1 minus a negative 2 is 3, right? 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 divided by 2. 3 divided by 2 is 3/2, or 1.5 if you want to write it in decimal form. Any questions on how you found the height of the graph? And then the next one is you need to find the periodic when it repeats again. So, isn't there like it goes below and then it goes above, then it goes below and then it goes above? Does everybody see where it starts repeating at? I like drawing a slash at that spot. And then I'm just going to count over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Final answer. Good to go? Let's see. I remember on this worksheet from years ago, the first part of the worksheet, you're just looking to see if it's periodic or not, yes or no. is there a pattern or not? I mean, this problem, I don't know, really. Is that periodic? No, I don't either. I don't even know. But anyway, first part, yes or no. Second part, they only want you to find the amplitude. And the third part, they want you to find the period and the amplitude. I remember this from years. You got to make sure you know what they're counting by. Some people are getting these problems wrong. Here I counted by ones. On here, they might count by twos. They might count by threes. They might count by fives. So just kind of pay attention by what they're counting by. Got it? So we are done with the notes worksheet.